I think green right here.
Okay, 4 slides today. Then, with time remaining, I would recommend getting in your teams, thinking about how you want to address your approach. Remember, everyone on your team has to essentially make the arguments, right? You're sort of on your own. I think our judges made one team.
They made all.
So you can't say, well, Billy will take care of what the argument is in document 1, and then Johnny will take care of document 2. No, Billy has to do document 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and then any other arguments that you're going to be making, all of you will do. And the reason is so that all of you are helped. The whole point of this is that you're ready for your essay, which I believe is an essay you can actually all do really well on, because it's a fairly easy argument to understand for both sides. It's pretty straightforward, I think. Okay? It's not like, remember paper number 2? Who remembers what the topic of paper number 2 was? Why slaves work hard. And it was actually kind of a challenging thing to think about, right? Was it fear of punishment, or was it economic motivation, or did they work hard, right? Some of you made the argument that they didn't. Okay, so sorry to bring up the dark days of okay. Let's talk about the stuff leading up to World War II. We are looking at, well, apparently we're looking at Australia, but really I wanted to look at the Philippines, and then also look at the Soviet Union. So the law 1934, which declared, don't worry, the Philippines, soon, by a certain date, and in this case it was 1946, you will be an independent nation. Again, what I want you to invite you to think about is, look at how the rest of the world is behaving, not the rest of the world, but Japan, Germany. Look what they're doing as compared to what the U.S. is doing. While Japan is invading its neighbors, while Germany is invading its neighbors, what is the U.S. doing? We're withdrawing our military forces. You know, who's more effective in conquering the world? The guy with the gun or the guy with the candy bar, right? Bad metaphor. What works for you? What is a more motivating factor for you? If you don't do it, I'll hit you with the stick. Or if you do it, I'll give you a carrot. What gets the bunny to hop from here to here? Carrot or stick? Right? Germany and Japan, conclusion, stick. The U.S. conclusion, carrot. We believe that by withdrawing from the Philippines, we won Filipino allegiance. Should the Japanese invade them, the Filipino people, this is important, the Filipino people will see the Japanese as the invader and the Americans as the rescuer, right? We're both foreign powers. We both occupied the Philippines. By withdrawing, we're saying to the Filipinos, gee, you weren't so bad when the Japanese would take over the Philippines, which they did. The Japanese did take over the Philippines. Okay.
What's IND?
Independence. Okay. Right? Independent. And how about the Soviet Union? So the Soviet Union is a new thing. Created, I actually don't even know, 1920-ish, something like that. It used to be this thing called Russia. But Russia, the Tsar was overthrown, his entire family murdered by the Bolsheviks. Some of you are familiar with this story. And the new thing called the Soviet Union, which militarily occupied Eastern Europe, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But again, look what the U.S. did as far as the Soviet Union. We recognized, that's a big word, what does it mean? Did somebody look through a telescope and say, yep, that's the Soviet Union, all right?
Oh, you taught us this before.
I did, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
What does recognition mean? Come on now. Someone knows. Sorry? Kinda.
Seen as a
Yes.
thing.
You pretty much say that you can be a nation.
Yes, you are a thing. You are an actual thing. Soviet Union, the U.S. accepts your legitimacy. We will not, the U.S. will not attempt to overthrow the Soviet Union. Little known fact, during World War I, yes, some Americans went to fight the Germans. Some Americans invaded Russia and helped during the Russian Civil War, helped this group called the White Army. The White Army fought the Red Army in Russian Civil War. And the Americans tried to manipulate the outcome by helping the non-communist side. Well, once you recognize a nation, you're saying, we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to try and overthrow you. We recognize you. We accept you. You're legit. Doesn't mean we're your friends, but we accept you as legit. Again, look at that. Germany is going to say, Austria, you're not a thing. Austria is not a thing. The western part of Czechoslovakia, that's not a thing. So as we're recognizing, the Germans are not recognizing. And who wins the hearts and the minds of the people of the world during World War II? Right? Carrot, stick. Here we are. Here's our carrot. We're recognizing you. What are the Germans doing? Stick. Okay. Sorry, any questions? Let's keep going. Continuing this idea that the U.S. is trying to be the good guy. We already talked about this. Hoover withdrawing Marines from Central America. It was called the Good Neighbor Policy. What was it? What was it? What was the Good Neighbor Policy? Withdrawing troops. Yeah, withdrawing troops from Latin America. And again, the thinking here is, hey, should there be a military conquering of, let's say, Haiti by, this just seems weird, but let's say the Germans take over Haiti. It's just incredibly unlikely. But let's just say, the Haitians will say, gee, where are the Americans? That will be seen as the liberator. The Germans are the invader. Again, we're both foreign powers. But if we withdraw, then the Haitians will theoretically want us back. And where did it affect? What lands did it affect? Well, I've got 4. Haiti. We've invaded Haiti more than any other country on earth. There's a couple different ways to interpret what I just said. We've invaded Haiti more than we've invaded any other country on earth. The other way to interpret that is we've invaded Haiti more than Canada's invaded Haiti. But that's not what I mean. I mean, the United States has invaded Haiti more than it has invaded any other country that it has invaded. I'm getting the point. Okay. Cuba, Panama, of course, the Panama Canal, Mexico. Here's something kind of interesting. So in the 1930s, well, I guess not, 1941, Mexico nationalized its oil industry. Does anyone know what that means? No. Good guess, though. Government ownership. That's right. Government ownership of oil. In the U.S., it's Standard Oil Company, Rockefeller's little baby, privately owned. Mexico nationalized its oil industry, including, here's the part, including American-owned oil companies in Mexico. Gee, does that make America happy? No. What did FDR do about it? FDR's president. What did FDR do about it? Nothing. Right? We're trying to make friends here. Did that mean FDR liked what Mexico did? Of course not. But Hitler's doing his thing over there in Europe. The United States did not want to be seen as the equivalent of Germany. So, gee, Mexico, we really wish you didn't do that. But we'll live with it. We'll live with it because we're a good neighbor. I have a friend, I've told you about him before. He graduated number 3. I graduated number 2 in my high school class. Tim graduated number 3. The difference was one class we both took. The teacher loved me, couldn't stand Tim. He got a C. Anyway, Tim lives in Apple Valley. and he has a neighbor. The neighbor happens to be the head hockey coach at Apple Valley High School. And Tim's neighbor has a dog that takes dumps about the size of a tire. And where does said dog take dumps? In Tim's yard. Tim could confront his neighbor. Yeah, your dang dog crapped in my yard. But he doesn't. Tim just takes a shovel, picks up tire of crap, and gently puts it in the neighbor's yard. Never confronts him, and they get along great. The neighbor never picks up the clue that his dog's crapping in Tim's yard, because to him, the dog's always crapping just on the edge, right in his own yard. Nice Tim, I guess, right? Tim could confront him. Tim could call the cops. Tim could shoot the dog, I guess. But he doesn't. He just takes the I almost swore there. I almost swore. That was close. And just moves it over. I didn't, though. I didn't swear. Okay.
It's not like you've never sworn before.
I haven't.
Okay.
Prove it. Okay.
You have videos of everything.
They've all been destroyed. Okay. Continuing this theme of America, the good neighbor, we are going to create a series of trade agreements. So there's Earth. And so again, this is early 1940s. The U.S. would create trade agreements because the belief was this: nations that trade with each other do not go to war with each other. Nations that trade with each other do not go to war with each other. Okay, and we made trade agreements with other nations. This is us getting out there. Here we are. Amazing, because look at our conclusion after World War I. Our conclusion after World War I was the world's a scary place, and better America just worry about being over here, and there's the Atlantic, and there's the Pacific, and we're safe here. Canada's nothing. Now we're getting out there. We're getting out there. We're making trade agreements, which largely, again, created this idea that America's the good guy. This is the model. After World War II, the U.S. would say, the U.S. government would conclude, gee, trade agreements, binding contracts, binding organizations. The way to defeat Germany isn't to militarily confront Germany. Trade with Germany. Make Germany part of your team. Hey, Germany, what are you doing for lunch tomorrow? Come on, let's go, Germany. And you and Germany will walk to Cassetta. By the way, trying to arrange the next field trip. So it's a late April thing. So probably a Wednesday-ish sort of thing. And Cassetta, the most important part of the trip, is part of that thing. So something like April 24th-ish. Circle that on your calendar. We're headed to
That's a Wednesday.
Not for show. And we will be back before the school day is over. So those of you in athletics, you will not be affected by that at all. Okay. Questions? Okay. So as I've said, the previous two slides are about America improving its relationship with other nations, and I'm contrasting that with the behavior of other nations. This is the dictator chart. And so, make a top 10 list, all-time worst dictators. And Stalin's right up there. Yeah, Stalin, responsible for more deaths, by the way, than Hitler. It also identifies those nations that reach conclusions that were seen as rather extreme. Well, how did the U.S. react to the Great Depression? Relief, recovery, reform. Fairly minor. Radical, sorta, but there's no government takeover of banks. Instead, government will insure banks. There's no takeover of any industry. Instead, government will give a seal to a product made by a company. And then, right, there's no government takeover of anything. But government certainly was doing more than it was before, but there's no radical action on the part of the U.S. government. Contrast that with the conclusions made by other nations. So you have the alliance between Nazi Germany and Mussolini's Italy creating this thing called the Rome-Berlin axis. And there you are, 3 dictators: Stalin, Hitler, and then Mussolini, the little kid who joined the big group, right? Me too, was sort of Mussolini. All of them wanting their nation to become great again, right? Italy, sorry, question? Okay. Italy, now with Germany on its side, invades let me go back a second here. Look, notice again, I'm reminding you that the entire African continent was under the control of one European nation or another. Germany, having lost World War I, lost its African empire to the victorious British and French. They did not get rid of empires as Wilson wanted to happen. Did they get rid of some? Yeah, some. But not all. Well, Italy attempted to capture part of Africa and attempted to take over the mighty Ethiopians in 1936. This is part of World War II. It's not the official part of World War II, but it is. Italy invading Ethiopia. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the Ethiopian military, but their main weapon is the yo-yo. It's true. The yo-yo was originally designed to be a weapon. Okay, think of oog. Oog hungry. Oog climb tree. Deer run under tree. Oog throw rock. Miss. Deer run away. Oog say dang it. Climb down tree. Retrieve rock. Climb back up tree. Deer run under tree again. Oog throw rock. Miss again. Boog say to Oog, hey, Oog, why not tie rope to rock? Then lift rock with rope. Good idea, say Oog. Oog throw rock, miss, quickly retrieve rock, throw rock again. Yo-yo. That's a yo-yo.
That's what the Ethiopians did to the Italians.
They'd get in their planes. The Ethiopians would get in their planes and then fly real low over the invading Italian soldiers and then hit them with a yo-yo. Ha, ha, ha! And the Italians were like, that's a hit. Right? And maybe if there were 10 Italians, they'd roll the dog and knock them all over like bowling pins. Parts of what I just said aren't true. Okay.
Did you just say roll the dog?
You roll the dog. You get the yo-yo to spin really fast, and then you take it off your finger, and it lands at the goes. And the Italians were like, no! A yo-yo! And then they fell. And once an Italian falls, that's it. It's over. They can't get back up.
What does it look like when you walk your dog? Is it just like rolling next to you?
Are you a yo-yo fan?
Walk the dog.
No, you take it off your finger. You get the thing to spin, and then you take it off your finger, and it lands and it rolls.
Oh, I see. Wait, but that...
It's a weapon. Stop asking questions. Accept it.
That's like the whole engineering part.
Japan, another of these extremist nations. If I have a treaty with you, and in the treaty you agree to only have 10 pens, you can't have more than 10 pens, and then you say,
make more than 10 pens.
Right. If Japan cancels a naval treaty with the United States, which limits their naval power, the conclusion of the U.S. is, well, they're gonna increase the size of the Navy, which is exactly what the Japanese did. What does the U.S. do about any of these things? Nothing. Nothing. Yet. Okay. So the U.S. did not confront directly any of these actions. When Italy attacked Ethiopia, the Ethiopian ruler went to the League of Nations, which is still a thing, and said, I'm being invaded by the Italians, help me. And the League of Nations said, I got a dentist appointment. I can't. Sorry. When the U.S., when the Japanese canceled this treaty limiting its naval power, what the U.S. do? Stop trading with the Japanese, which is not insignificant. But the main source of Japanese metal used to be the U.S. We used to trade. Well, they're not going to get that anymore. Well, where do they get it then? China. They're gonna take it. If they don't get it from us through trade, they're gonna take it through military conquest. as evidence of American neutrality? You have the Neutrality Act of 1933, 35, 36, and 37. We're not involved. Passed by U.S. Congress, signed by FDR. We're not involved. Hey, is there a historical precedent for the Europeans are killing each other and the Americans say, we're not involved? World War I, very good. Anything else? Like a specific thing called the Neutrality Act or a Neutrality Proclamation? Have we looked at that before? Obviously, the answer is yeah. Does it ring a bell? Do you immediately forget everything once we take a test?
Yeah.
In 1812, well, slightly before 1812, Britain and France were fighting each other. Both looked to the Americans for help, and the Americans declared a neutrality proclamation, like, we're not involved. In fact, whichever country stops attacking our trade boats first will help you. And the French jumped on that, and that's why we went to war against Britain in 1812, because the British did not honor our request. Stop attacking their boats. Okay. So I'm just pointing out an example of synthesis. All of this, by the way, I hope as we've been going over this stuff, right? So far, we've been covering that and this. Have you been looking at it like, gee, this is something I could use in my Blue Book essay?
No.
This is evidence of Japanese aggressive behavior, that the Japanese behaved badly and deserved what happened to them at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, or not, right? There's certainly evidence of that. Okay, last slide. Or today, we have 4 slides. What does appeasing mean?
Pleasing.
Not confronting them, right? I make dinner at my house every day. I get home and I make dinner, right? Noah gets home, he's just been to baseball. Stillwater gets out of school. They start practice at 2:30. He's done by about 5. He comes home, he's starving. And I say the same thing every day. Noah, do not snack. We're about to have, and by that time, he's already got the cereal and the bowl and the milk, and he's already eating like what? And then he eats because teenage boys eat a lot, right? But I always tell him, don't spoil Frosted Flakes in your house, right? Your mom's making dinner. And there are the cookies. Oh, and you reach into the cookie jar, and mom says, "Now we're about to have dinner."
Too late.
And then you and she's smiling at you, you're like, and you eat it, right? You eat the cookie, and she's just smiling at you like, "We're about to have dinner." So you reach for another cookie. She's just kind of looking at you. You eat the second cookie, right? She is not confronting you. She is appeasing you. Your behavior does not lead to a confrontation with mother, so you repeat the behavior. Apply that to nations. Okay? Appeasing Germany and Japan. Japan, 1937, started with this part of China, continues, drives south. Attacks the gray area of China. You can see various years and when they did it. So Japan in 1886, and then Japan takes over this thing called Taiwan, and then, what am I doing? Et cetera, wins chunks of land, including this part under China. Indochina, under China, very good. What does the U.S. do? When the Japanese don't stop with Manchuria, but continue to drive south into China to attack parts of Indochina. They're attacking here for the metal. They're attacking here for the oil. They need a navy. What do you need for a navy? You need metal and oil. Where do you get the metal? China. Where do you get the oil? Dutch East Indies. What does the U.S. do? Nothing. Stop that. Stop it. Well, that's appeasing. You're not confronting them. Right. You're just kind of smiling at them with that stupid face. Let's look at German behavior. In 1935, Germany created a military draft. violating the Treaty of Versailles. The Treaty of Versailles said Germany could not have an army exceeding, I think, 180,000 soldiers. I'm not sure about that number. 35, they have a draft. They exceed the number. Does anyone confront them? Nope. What they're saying is, I don't see it. It's not there. Right? The ostrich approach. You stick your head in the sand. Nothing's out there. If you don't see the German soldiers, they're not there. Okay, again, let's go back to Japan. Look at this bad behavior. Did Japan deserve the atomic bombs? We could argue yes or no based on this evidence. Okay. Here's something sort of that you might want to think about. Here's Japanese behavior and here's German behavior. We, of course, used atomic bombs against Japan, and of course, we used atomic bombs against Germany. Only we didn't. We did not use atomic bombs against Germany. Well, why not? Aren't they doing the same thing? Isn't Germany equally guilty for the awfulness of World War II? And yet we used one method with one country and not the other. Well, why? No, we're not debating now. Save your ammo. Okay.
No pun intended.
I am now identifying, okay, did you see? I am now color coding areas that Germany captured without losing any soldiers to combat. So the first area they occupied was an area called the Rhineland. That's the brown area. Germany had given it up after World War I. That's the area that the Germans had to give up to the French, the Rhineland. They militarily occupied it. Did the French confront them at that moment? No. Maybe Germany will be happy. If we let Germany have that cookie, maybe they'll stop eating cookies. Maybe they'll be full. They're militarily occupying it. Yep, very good. Second area. Okay, let's go back. That's a purple area called Austria. It is now yellow. Germany captures Austria. Did the Austrians fight? No. Some in Austria welcomed it. Good. That will be a significant thing again. The last time Austria was a thing was when it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And now they're part of in essence, the German Empire. Anyone know what's the main language in Austria? German. Germany's not enough. Anyway, German, right? Ethnically, the people of Austria are German. They are. They're German. I've just identified to you Hitler's justification. Why does he militarily occupy the Rhineland? Because those people are German. They want us there. Why does he militarily occupy Austria? Because those people are German. They want us there. Does anyone confront him? No. Maybe he'll be happy now. Maybe he'll be fine. Of course, you're not. You grab another cookie. The western part of Czechoslovakia. It's called Sudetenland. Germany takes it. And as a matter of fact, the last note that they're putting here is there was some meeting in one of my favorite cities in Europe, by the way. If you're ever there, go visit Munich. If you've ever been to Disney World, the castles in Munich are what Disney World is based on. Right? The real castle that Disney World's fake castle is based on is in Munich. Beautiful. Just absolutely stunning. There was a meeting. At that meeting were France and Britain and Germany, not Czechoslovakia, which is kind of interesting. Does that remind you of anything? Where these three decide this group's fate? And they're not there. Africa, very good. Native Americans, right? When the British and the Americans agreed on what to do with Oregon, one of the groups they did not bother inviting were the people that lived there. Yeah, in a way, right? The Treaty of Versailles was written, and then the Germans were shown it after it was written already. Just sign it. Sign the thing. Okay, very good. Okay, same thing here. Czechoslovakia was not part of the meeting where half of it was awarded to Germany. And Hitler's argument was, look, those people want us to be part of Germany. They're German. Yes. But for purposes of this class, it's good. And then finally, the rest of Czechoslovakia. Why stop? All of this is without any sort of confrontation. cookie after cookie after cookie. Well, at some point, mom's going to figure out, I guess you're not going to stop eating the cookies. Right? You're not going to get full. You're not eating the cookies based on attempting to get full. You're eating a cookie because mom isn't stopping you from eating the cookie. That's why you're eating the cookie. So obviously a change of behavior is going to become necessary. Okay. Nice chunk of time left. My recommendation is that you think about what arguments you're going to make as far as this debate is concerned, but I'm not requiring that. You've got a couple keys that are due, the last two. There's evidence to find to support and refute arguments. Thank you. Putting together your essay itself, even though you don't get a cheat sheet, that doesn't mean you shouldn't think about it. I would highly recommend you do think about it, so that you're not coming into that class that day and just starting from scratch. If you do that, that's on you. That you're choosing to struggle as far as that essay. You know what the essay is. You know what the documents are. You know what evidence is out there. Write the thing, and then rewrite it on essay day with no tools that you can use in the writing of that thing. But still, you should practice it. Okay. Any questions? All right. The rest of the hour is all yours. I'm here if you need me for whatever reason. There should be computers, but they're not there.